All right, in these latest leaked emails from the Clinton campaign, a lot of them came at the time we had all these Republicans running for the presidency. Yet there was an obsession over one Iowa Republican Congressman Steve King, at the time concerned about anchor babies and how a lot of illegals come in here. And he said, well, maybe it was time to change the Constitution to end birthright citizenship. I'm oversimplifying things here to get to the point that that got the Hillary campaign and everyone associated with it their attention. And there was a debate back and forth as to should they aggressively go after Steve King. They thought better of it, saying in one from John Podesta, I'd stick with Bush Rubio. But here's the guy that was igniting all of that attention on the phone, Congressman Steve King, with us right now. Congressman, what do you make of the fact that they were essentially calling you a bigot and that they wanted to make you the story?
Well, that's been going on for some time, Neil, and but I was a bit surprised that it was that high profile within the Clinton camp. Although I had seen in the past that if I make a statement that Clinton for president in the last few months would launch a fundraising attack on me and raise money nationwide on that. And when that happened, I had other Democrat operatives, and much of the mainstream media would turn around and attack me also. So it kind of goes to show you where the brain trust is and where these ideas come from. I'm a bit flattered that they would pay that much attention to me and that they would be that concerned. It looks like I might be living in their head rent-free these days, and that pleases me, you know.
It is interesting as well, since we're learning that what Hillary Clinton was saying on the campaign stump regarding a host of issues, even including illegals who could slip into this country and whether we're properly vetting those, for example, from Syria, and saying quite something different in public, whether there's worry going on here and panic going on here. And what's saving them now is the fact that much of the mainstream media, of course, has not been devoted to covering this because so many mainstream media reporters are caught up in these email exchanges. But what do you make of the attention they're getting versus the attention 11-year-old tape of Donald Trump is getting?
Oh, well, it's starkly different, especially when you adjust it for the relative importance of the various positions. Hillary Clinton's activities here and the things that you discussed and more of them, they are policy. And she's confessed to duplicity when it comes to policy. And Donald Trump's statements 11 years ago, no one defends them, not me, not Donald Trump. He apologized. I don't have to. So I think we need to get this thing back in proportion. There's something else missing on that came out about 3 or 4 days ago with the duplicity tape, and that was her intention and her goal was to establish essentially a free trade zone in the hemispherical free trade zone and open borders. So when you think about what that means, that's a North American Union writ large for the whole hemisphere.
No, you're right. I mean, that's big stuff. And then while you can wince at the language Donald Trump used, the policies that she seems to be implying or the mixed read she seems to imply, that's at the very least equally big stuff for the media to pursue, but they're not. But I have learned, and I don't know whether you're part of these 3 dozen or so congressional Republicans who are concerned enough to meet with Kellyanne Conway, the Trump campaign manager, to say your guys should cease and desist these Paul Ryan attacks, that it's gotten too nasty. I don't know whether you're part of that group, but do you agree with the sentiment of that group?
I would have said to Paul Ryan, had he asked me his opinion before he had the conference call that announced that he would no longer be out there advocating for Donald Trump or defending him, I would have said, Paul, you haven't demonstrated that that's what you've been doing. If you just simply carry out that which you would like to pledge to all of us, no one would notice a difference. But instead, they did a call that they knew was going to be spread across the nation immediately, and within about 20 minutes.
Well, that's a very good point. He could have gone ahead and acted on his impulse not to campaign hard for the guy, but not make a federal case of it, announcing that policy.
And what it did, Neil, is it took the bounce that Donald Trump's unanimous decision over Hillary Clinton, with 3 knockdowns, by the way, he took that bounce away from him at 9 o'clock my time Wednesday morning. And now the dialogue is about a division within the Republican Party instead of a resurging Republican nominee that stands for the Republican platform and stands for almost everything that I want to see. I had a different candidate in mind, but he stands for the things that I want to see get done.
But Congressman, I'm beginning to think Paul Ryan just really doesn't want Donald Trump to win. He just doesn't.
Well, and maybe it's not that plain. Maybe it's not that plain in his mind, but I can't believe that Paul Ryan wants to see Donald Trump win and be able to complete his.
Well, he wouldn't say what he said. He wouldn't say what he said if he didn't, really feel that way. And I could be wrong, but to your point, it would have been better to say nothing and then do nothing for Donald Trump than to say something and tell the world you're doing nothing for Donald Trump.
And that drove a wedge between our conference, and 12 of 13 who spoke against the idea of walking away from Donald Trump. Neil, we're joined at the hip, like it or not. I've been tied to polling here, and I could give you, if we've got time, an example, and that was in 2012. I was in a tough race. We were polling the night that Todd Akin made the statement in Missouri that caused so much national furor. We were up 12, and Romney was up 12 in my district. That was Sunday night before it kicked in. Monday night, we were both even. We'd lost 12 points. Romney did, and I did. By Tuesday night, we were down 12 points. In 3 days, we lost 24 points in the polls. It could only have been tied to the statement made in Missouri. Mitt Romney and I were joined at the hip. There was nothing I could do to separate myself from him. We were going together on an issue that was not a presidential issue, and it wasn't my issue. So we are tied with Donald Trump, like it or not. And I happen to think that if he's president, we're going to be able to move the agenda that has been pledged by the very people who have decided to walk away from him.
Yeah, it's going to be weird. If he were to win, he's going to have more trouble with folks in your party, Congressman, than he is the other. But we'll see. Congressman, thank you very, very much.